I sent out an email a few days back. The title, I think, was "The Dumbest Mistake I've Made Early in My Career as a Mixer." And I just wanted to reflect back and kind of talk a little bit about it in this video. I've been mixing for about 20 years now, and recently in the last, I would say, 8 or 9 years, I've been teaching in college. One of the things that I see happen a lot with students, because they're so eager to start working on a song, they'll jump into the tools straight away. And what I mean by that is they'll open up a session and get into like EQing, compressing, doing all these things right off the bat. What I've learned over the years is that's a big mistake, and I'll explain why. In general, at the end of the day, when we're mixing a song, it's all about kind of serving that song and serving whatever the artist feels like is the right atmosphere, the right vibe. And that really changes between sessions and between artists and between songs. The biggest kind of take that I took from all these years of mixing and mastering is the fact that I might not fully understand whatever the artist is going for straight off the bat. The biggest kind of advantage that you can do early in your career is to really try and spend as much time and energy and thought into doubling down on whatever the artist wants. There's many ways to do that. I think the best way is honestly just hanging out. When I started, I used to just jump right into the session. So I would get a session to mix. I'd be really, really excited about it. I'll open it on Pro Tools and I'll start like messing around with the tracks. Over the years, what I've learned is like way more effective is have a phone call with the person you're working with, or ask him to even sit down for a coffee or something and talk about the song, talk about how he wrote it or produced it, what was the motivation behind it, where his mindset was in when he was working on the song, and then even deep dive into references, what he likes and dislikes in different types of music. Sometimes you'll be really, really surprised. Like I remember I had this artist that I worked with, the genre of music was like heavy metal. We were talking about the song and the production and the album and all these things, and he was telling me about like how he wrote it and stuff. And then we were starting to talk about references, and he mentioned how much kind of the Beatles is this like part of his life that really affects how he writes music and how he produces. When you're sitting down to like work on a metal song, you don't necessarily think about the Beatles, but for that guy, there is a connection there. And at first I was like kind of thinking to myself, that's kind of dumb. Like the song does not sound like a Beatles track. But he was talking about how like the melodies work in a certain way, and how like he's inspired by many of the lyrics of the Beatles. And in the end, I kind of got it. If you sit down with the person that actually made the song come true or come to life, and you hear him out, he has a much better chance of approving the mix, even if it's not exactly how he visioned it. And I think that's because there's a certain level of trust. When you think about it, he's been working on it for so long, he's now going to kind of hand it over to someone. He wants to know that that someone on the other side is someone that actually gets his master vision and gets where he's coming from and what he wants to achieve and do with this piece of art. And when you treat it like that and not treat it like just a job or something that you know more about than he does because you're more technical or something of that nature, then you really have a higher chance of getting it right and hopefully getting more jobs and being more successful. That's my take on it. I just wanted to kind of share my 2 cents. This whole idea for the video came from somebody that commented on the newsletter saying that maybe we should deep dive into these educational newsletters in a video format and talk a little bit more about the subject. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any more ideas on what we should talk about, let us know in the comments or email us. We're super responsive. So I'll see you guys next time.